Bruh, I'm so tired. But I have all these YouTube videos that I was gonna watch, and so I was like, what if we watch those together? I don't know. So let's just run it. Don't forget to like your YouTubers.
Hi, Chad. A lot of people are looking at me like I'm doing something weird, but I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong.
That's true.
Is the backpack doing okay?
Hi, kitty.
Not only am I dressed like this, it also looks like I'm talking to myself. So, yeah. Wait, what if I am just talking to myself, dude? Can Emily please come back? Why did you have to forget something in the car? Okay, you know what I can do? I can...
Oh,
this
no,
looks
they
funny.
got Frogner. How could they get Frogner, man? He was just getting right.
Should we help him?
His credit back
We don't
in
have
order.
time to help
Tomorrow
these
is coming back.
fools. We need to find
Yeah, again with the crest.
This game is
Stop
not no
busting
fantasy
my
setting.
balls.
Fuck that.
We'll find
Moving
one.
on berserk time.
What about you, Shadowheart?
I'm indifferent. Or am I?
Yeah, it's never a straight fucking answer with you, huh? Okay, well, I guess I'll just, for like the 50th time, I need a magical item or I will blow us the fuck up. Okay, well, I guess I'll just save and then see what happens if we help.
That is not how you play D&D.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Oh, shit, it's a drow. Oh, here we go. Oh, nah. I was gonna live. I was gonna make it out. Look, I'm trying to help.
Nah, I'm not going out like this.
Yeah!
Okay. What the heck?
Hmm. Good enough for me. Hey, hey, hey! Knock it off with the river and the angelic voice and the sudden urge to go walk into that river over there.
That was way shorter than I expected, but also like really funny. I love this guy. If you haven't followed before, you should check him out. Okay. Anyways, wait, no, I should send this in my group chat. Bro, that was hilarious.
Yeah. Very strange.
It's like stop motion picture.
So... It's part of the costume! It's not because it's a furry stream. But where did I put my scissors? Why am I
Doesn't
still
look like she
wearing
normally
the
has
tail?
blue
I don't even
hair.
have the
What?
outfit on yet. Oh yeah, I also have the ears. This is the whale one.
Oh, that's why.
Wait, look!
Pretty cute. So impressive.
It's sticking up. Wait, I have this for you to wear.
What is that?
A tail! Oh my god! Do you have a tail?
Wait, this is crazy. Oh my god. I used to have a fox costume, and the tail looked just like that.
What? Wait.
That's great.
We talk so much about Jersey because it's so easy to, but my
This video is
God,
so long.
is New Jersey just so much better than Austin, Texas? It's just not even comparable. Wait, it's you go outside, you're not dying in 5 seconds, you need water. It feels nice. I'm walking around, there's gardens, not everything's hooked up to an irrigation system, which is basically like an IV at this point in Austin, Texas, where every single flower needs to make sure it's curated or for like 3 times a day or it's gonna die. It's just so nice. How's your sister? Dude, I got sent. Okay, I went to Jersey, and I usually get recognized when I go to like places for 21 plus. Okay. Usually when I go to bars, is where I get recognized the most. Just letting you guys know. I know a lot of you might be thinking, Miss Kids, whatever. Most of you guys are in your mid-20s. All right, I'm telling you right now, I get recognized by far the most when I go to bars. It's been like that since for the past few years. I get recognized when I'm at the bars. Usually, if I'm talking to somebody, you guys come up to me and make me look way cooler, right? And I'm at the boardwalk, and I'm walking around the boardwalk. How Jersey did that sound? I'm walking around the fucking boardwalk with my family, and
I'm walking
and
around
Brendan.
the boardwalk.
And I'm walking around the boardwalk, and a kid comes up to me. Must have been 13, 14 years old. And he says, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing in your Jersey?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm from here. I live up in North Jersey." He says, "Yo, can I get a pic? Can I get a pic?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." I'm surprised. I'm like, "Why is a 13-year-old kid looking at me?" And after the pic, he goes, "Bro, your sister's so hot, dude."
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, "How do you know my sister?" He said, "Yeah, you did a stream with Aiden Ross like a year ago."
That's wild.
Oh God, I thought that was so funny. So my what's it called? My dad is a super. I get everything from my dad. I get everything from my dad. Everything. I get my stupidity. I get my lack of care for anything in the world. I get my like dumbass abilities from him. I get my partial wit from him. Right. So I get all that stuff from my dad. And my dad is like kind of like who I think I'll be in like 50 years from now, and it kind of freaks me the fuck out because he seems delirious about 90% of the time.
Oh gosh.
And my dad loves this one place in Wildwood. It's called the Seashell Ice Cream. Best ice cream. We've been going there for. He's been going there for 60 years. 60 years he's been going there. He loves Seashell ice cream. Right. If we went there and we went to Wildwood, he's like, "I gotta go to Seashell. You're taking me to Seashell. We're going to get ice cream." So Seashell is very well known for having extra ice cream. Like as in, when you get one scoop, you're not eating one scoop. It's way too much ice cream for one person. So my dad knows this, and he hasn't been to Wildwood in 50 years. I thought it was a very cute thing he did.
Excuse me.
And he was super excited to go get ice cream. As like a 65-year-old man, just he was gleaming at the boardwalk. He's like, "Let's go to get ice cream." So we walked over a mile.
Ad starts
over a
in
mile. I
10
walked with my dad to go get ice
seconds.
cream, and we get to the place, and you get one scoop. That's what you get, Chad. 2 scoops is for people who aren't from Jersey. And he goes up to the lady,
Can't
and he
breathe.
says, "I don't want 1 scoop. I don't want 2 scoops. I want 3 scoops of ice cream." So my dad walks out of the place, and this is my dad, and he's just literally, it's like he's fighting a boss of trying to eat the ice cream, and it's impossible for him to. Half the ice cream is gone at this point, by the way. It is literally a boss fight, my dad versus the ice cream, on how he can be able to finish this thing without getting it absolutely everywhere. And just letting you know, he completely failed. The ice cream landed all over the table. It's on the ground. It was all over his hand. The next day, it was on his hand because I guess he forgot to shower. My dad also put sunscreen on that day. 2 days later, I go home, and my dad still has the sunscreen behind his ear. This is what I mean when I say this guy's literally an exact replica of me at this point, where he just does the stupid. He's just an idiot. Like, is he autistic? Probably. And I'm not saying that to be a joke. My dad is probably autistic. Like my whole family is retarded. And I'm not saying that as in like, oh wow, like he's a. No, I have 3 uncles that have autism and also are retarded. My dad has severe ADHD/autism. I probably and definitely have autism. And my mom's side, 2 people are mental institutions. So literally, my entire family is retarded. It's awesome, dude. It's so much fun. We get to do so much
That's
stuff. And guess what?
wild.
Have you guys ever? You just share each other's prescriptions. You never need to go anywhere else. It's fucking awesome, dude. Everyone's just off their rocker crazy. But it's fun. I have no problem with it. But yeah, my dad definitely is like borderline insane. And it's just really funny to watch him with like eat ice cream and stuff like that. And my dad also has half a bladder because he my dad has half a bladder for
Oh?
what reason? When he was a kid, I think he just like lost it for some reason. So whenever we go to the boardwalk is huge, Chad. It's like a mile long. And whenever we're at the boardwalk, there's a bunch of rides. But my dad has always liked one ride the most, the bathroom, because my dad has a half a bladder, so every 5 feet he has to go pee. So I got a really good picture of my dad. This is going into the bathroom, which is fucking sick. So
Welcome back.
that's my
I'm
dad.
still joking.
That's really it. That's him going to the bathroom. He does it like 3 times. It was fucking awesome. It's fucking sick to watch. What else do I have to show you? But yeah, what else did I do? There's so much. The thing is, like, when you're in a beach town, like, how much can you really do that's like super interesting or crazy? The thing is that you could do in a beach town, though, is definitely bother everybody. And one way to bother people more than my dad just messaged me. I swear to God, I'm gonna screenshot this and show you because this is exactly what I mean by with my dad. Okay, ready? Look, this is exactly what I mean with my dad. I may have half a bladder, but you have half a brain. One thing that I love about the shore chat, and I absolutely love this about the beach, right? Everyone, like, it's all a bunch of white families. That's all the Wildwood area is. It's a bunch of white families who are like very nice. You know, they're you know, oh, hunky dory. I swear to God, you go on the beach at 6 o'clock, all you see is a bunch of white families with the like white shirts, and they're all taking that one really corny picture on the beach that they always take. They all have white on at the beach. You know what I'm talking about? They're all taking that picture on the beach. It's completely whitewashed, right? And a lot of the families are just trying to act like real nice and cordial and stuff. And I absolutely love making people in public just get really fucking annoyed, right? It's my thing to do. And all these families that are like, you know, these upper middle class douchebags, whenever I'm at the shore, especially in Wildwood, I love to just like cause problems, right? That's my thing to do. It's just funny. And we're all eating outside, right? We're eating outside. We order from a restaurant that's all fish, okay? It's an all fish restaurant. And of course, you Italian scumbags, instead we order all meatballs and spaghetti, right? So we're all sitting there. We're all ordering these spaghettis and meatballs and all this other stuff. And it's a classic of mine at this point to do this when I'm at the shore. I'm there, and I'm with my family, and I haven't done this. I haven't sat with my family at the shore chat in 10 years. I invited them all down. I haven't sat with my mom and dad at the Wildwood Shore in 10 years. It's been 10 years. Last time I was there, this is why we stopped going. Last time we were there, at the boardwalk, I'm 18 years old. I'm with some of my friends, and I drank so much at the boardwalk, because we bought vodka from some dude.
Oh my.
I drank so much at the boardwalk that I passed
try
out
this
under the
at
boardwalk,
home.
and my mom and dad had to come get me. And then my dad drove me home, and I was begging him to get me out of the car when the car door was wide open. So that's the last time. Then we stopped going to the shore completely because I basically ruined it by getting too drunk. And in that same year, I got kicked off the boardwalk because I was jumping off the rides. Like, there's a ride, it's called Dante's Dungeon, right? Where basically, it's like one of those rides where you just sit in it, and it goes like a mile an hour. And me trying to be funny, right? Because, of course, I get up in the middle of the ride, and I jump out of the ride, and I start running, and I run right into a wooden pole, and I smack into it, and I fall backwards right on the thing. And they completely shut down the ride, and had to come get me out of the ride, be like, you are so fucking stupid, you could have died in there. But my friends were laughing, so it's completely worth it. Then, I also got kicked out of the water park that year, because we would do this thing called James Bond, where me, my brother, and his friends, I would go first, and I would just stop on the ride completely like this, right when the lifeguards couldn't see you, right? So the lifeguards can't see you, and then I stop, which then my brother and his friends would all come, and right when they would come, we would take the tube and throw it off the ride, which is really bad, and we would just start fighting each other. And it was basically called James Bond. We basically just beat the shit out of each other while on the water park ride. And yeah, we got kicked out of the water park for that as well.
Yeah.
But that was totally worth it. That was the best one. So my parents didn't want us to go to the boardwalk or Wildwood anymore because, God, we're so fucking annoying. But anyway, I thought it'd be a tradition to kind of fucking ruin my parents' time at Wildwood, right? It's not fun if they're always enjoying themselves. Part of having a kid and part of being a parent is being miserable, right? It's not a big story. I'm gonna call my mom. God, Fiverr's getting expensive.
Hi.
Mom, I'm on stream. I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, didn't remember when we told you the story about how I jumped off Dante's Dungeon and I hit a pole?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I told you that 10 years ago, right?
Right.
Okay, and I got drunk at the boardwalk and you had to come pick me up, right?
Yes, that's true.
And who brought you to
That's
me?
true.
Police.
Cool, huh?
No.
Yeah.
What? Bye, Bob.
Ha!
I had about 10 of my friends from high school came.
Cool, huh?
Right? Like, one of my
No.
friends is a teacher, and she was the top of my class. In fact, she was not just the top of my class when I was in high school. She taught me how to learn. Because when I was in high school, I was going to be a plumber. That was what I was literally like, I'm going to be a plumber. That was what was my goals, plumber, and I was going to take the police academy test, and I was going to maybe become a cop. Those are two things that I thought I was going to be in life. Do you guys ever have in school, like, that one student that was basically a teacher? Like, one student that was just like, the teachers loved, and they were just like, yes, like, I trust this girl with everything. She can...
Switch up.
Great. Cute, very cute, Snuffy.
I'm wearing shorts under my shorts because
Oh my
shorts
God.
are really short shorts.
I mean, look at your abs. Oh my God, that is. I'm so jelly.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. It's gonna be so stuffed because I can't do it. So it's like,
Wow! Yes, yes. Come on. Woo! Cool. Look at that. Woo! Woo! Yeah.
why does my stomach hurt from doing that? Like, my abs, I didn't even do anything.
Go
It's like, you did too much today.
Wait, that was perfect.
That's such cosplayer energy.
Woo!
I'm a mess. I'm not gonna lie. I am a literal disaster of a human being the past 2 weeks. If I have dono-walled your message, it's because, well, I don't know if anyone here has messaged me, but this is to my friends. If I've dono-walled your messages, it's because I have been a disaster of a human. Just like sad and mopey and don't even know why, but I have booked my first therapy appointment this week. I've never gone to therapy. I've always wanted to,
Congratulations!
but I didn't just book one therapy appointment. I booked 2. So
Nice.
I'm excited. I'm going to talk to some people, you know? I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
It's not the sock pee, okay? That's not what set it off. You know, sometimes you're just not in a great mental space. And I think just the past couple months, it's been really rough. So I'm like, it's all taking a toll on me. And I don't really realize it because I like joke about things a lot. And so it'll be like, you know, my roommates are like, how are you, Leslie? And I'm like, yeah, it's great. And I'll say something like, existence is pain.
Ow.
Like, are you good? And I was like, no.
No.
I'm not. They're like, why? I was like, bro, I don't really know. I gotta talk to a therapist, man. I got a lot of issues. They're like, yo, you good? Cause like, you know, I don't do serious talk that well. I feel like I don't really get deep like very easily. I don't like to cry. I don't like that stuff like with friends. It feels like, you know. So I don't really like to. I don't really like to. I don't know. I don't really like to talk about why I'm sad, or like I don't feel like I'm like. Sometimes I'm like I'm not allowed to be sad, you know. I feel like if I talk about my problems, I'm just complaining, and I hate people who complain a lot, right? And I don't want to be somebody who complains a lot, so I try to like. I just like keep to myself a lot, or I'll journal out stuff. But even to myself, it's weird. When I'm journaling, I have trouble complaining to my own journal. And maybe that's something I need to unpack. But it's like, even in my own journal, like I'll feel guilty about writing any negative feelings, anything that I'm like sad about or mad about or anything. It feels weird to complain to myself. It's almost like I'm admitting to myself that I'm feeling these things. So I'll like try to always be like, this was a great thing, and I'm so appreciative of this, and gosh, I'm so I'm so grateful and everything, and I'm so happy. I'm always like trying to like tell even myself that in what journal nobody will read ever except myself. But when I do type it out, I'm like, well, actually, I'm not doing that well. Here's why. When I take those steps, or when I say it out loud to my friends or my roommates or anybody, I like say like, hey, I'm kind of not doing so hot. They're like, hey man, it's okay. Me too. And I'm like, oh, you know, hey, maybe it's not so. Yeah. So sometimes it makes you feel weak to say it. Yeah, I really don't.
That's valid. That's totally okay.
Yeah, I can't eat my Whataburger fries at midnight anymore. Oh no.
Aww.
I want abs. I want to be fit.
Do it.
You know?
I say, but I haven't worked out that much in like weeks.
That'd be so cool.
Hello, Hearthstone Gamer 77.
I used to be on
How are
the
you
track
doing
team,
today?
and I was really good. I mean, I always
I
got
love the
laps,
bed
but at least I
emoji.
didn't give up.
I'm pretty sleepy today. Ludwig cut his hair. I don't know if you saw that. Look at him. Are those scars? Or is that a fade? I used to be subbed to him, but I haven't been lately because I have no money. You're doing good? That's good to hear, buddy. Am I following you back? Are you following me? Are we following each other?
Alright.
Let's check it out. We're checking out your page right here, right now. I'm not following you. Are you following me? Follow me. I'll follow you back. Done. It's done. Do it. I'm watching you. Yes, you follow me? Okay, I'm following you back now. Look at that. Look at that. In real time. You're welcome. Yeah. Good to hear you're doing good. I'm doing my best. Probably gonna be on tonight playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Like you think you're hard. Mess with us, and you'll end up like this bleeder.
It's crazy that's like a kid.
Oh, you're real tough. Bullying a kid. Sod off, or I'll fetch my mum. She was as tough as wood meat before the accident came along.
Slumber stream?
Now, she
I haven't done
can
a sleep
dragon.
stream in a minute. I'm a really awkward thrashing sleeper. Some people had some confusing things to say about it, but the point of doing the sleep stream for me was to review how I was sleeping for myself. It was successful. What the fuck is happening? Okay, anyways.
Can do no wrong. That was Kelly.
Yeah.
This girl's like known as basically the nicest and most honest girl in the whole school.
So,
you're probably wondering how she.
anyways,
well,
Baldur's Gate 3 tonight.
So she was in the library.
I mean, I don't know.
senior year.
I'm thinking I'll
Because
stream
I don't know if you guys
it.
had like in your senior year of high school where like you basically got to do whatever you wanted.
It's gonna be like
She was kind of like that, but on blokes because this girl.
It's gonna be
not
a
only was she top of my class, she was, like, I think,
multi-land,
second out of her whole grade,
multiplayer game.
But every teacher loved her so much.
So,
and the thing is, she
I
actually
don't-
did her work.
I just
outside
started
of class. So
using
a lot of times they're like,
OBS.
oh, like the teachers wouldn't care if you go to the library. She would go to the library, but she would actually study. Well, I was on addicted.
I just started using OBS, and
I
it,
was getting one-on-one
it doesn't
tutored,
drop
taught
frames as
by
much
that one
as
teacher.
Streamlabs
And I,
OBS
like,
does.
basically read through everything. It was
And I'm
actual
starting
work.
to get a
It was
feel
genuine
for
torture. I hated
it.
every second of it.
And I was
I don't
able
know
to
why they thought that was a good
stream
idea. Even the teacher felt bad
Diablo
after a while.
last night. I started
But
a new character.
One day, she says, hey, I have to go for a run somewhere.
So we'll see
I'm
if
gonna
I
put you in
can
the library.
stream Baldur's Gate
And
3
she brings me to the
tonight.
library,
The whole
and
reason
she
I
knows
switched to OBS is
that I cannot
because
go on
Mega
the
Geek EXE, check him
Oh
out.
my god, I've never told you this story.
And King Seraph
Actually, Kelly told me this. I'll say it.
underscore.
So I'm not allowed to go on the
The two
computer,
of them told
And,
me that they were
she knows
using
that.
OBS
So,
and
I,
it was
She's basically like, hey,
working better
here's what
for
I'm gonna do.
them.
I'm gonna put you with Kelly because I trust that she's
So,
going to make
I
sure
don't know,
you
I
study.
gave it a
She's that
shot
good.
and it
She's like,
worked.
I'm gonna make sure you study.
So
I'm gonna put you
happy
with Kelly.
about that
So
because
I'm like, all right,
I've put like
So I sent
50
it to Kelly, and she's
plus
with another girl that's also, like,
hours
the top of
into
the class, right?
Baldur's
These are
Gate
two top
3
geniuses. There's like 10 of them
since it
on
came
like this like
out,
Mount
and
Rushmore of gods in my school of smart.
I just
And I'm like the, not the
was
Mount Rushmore,
feeling
I'm the
real
president
bad
of
that I
D&D,
couldn't
right?
stream
I'm the absolute,
my first
everyone knows I'm
react
great.
to it.
And I'm sitting right next to her, like I'm the bad guy,
So
right?
I
sold
have
drugs, I changed my grades.
I have 3 characters now on Diablo.
I never talked to this girl in my life.
May,
She starts talking to me,
who
and I
is
start
a
talking.
barbarian
I'm very friendly, right? So I'm
who's
friends with
level
everyone. I still knew her. I was
50,
friendly with her.
and
we just started
then
talking, and she was like,
I need to
"You
slow
are
him
smart.
down a
You know
little
that,
bit.
right?"
And then
And I'm like,
Phil,
"What do you mean?"
who is
She's
a
like,
sorcerer,
"You actually
who's just
are
like
way
level
smarter than you
11.
Make yourself seen.
And I guess there was
put on this
updates
act
to
like you're an
Diablo
idiot, and
4
you don't
since
try,
I
but
last
you are
played,
actually someone that
so
can
last
make and do
night
well.
I made a
And I'm like, "Kelly, that's 'cause my adult was
necromancer
kicked in."
named
She's like, "Yeah, but she believed in
Desdemona.
me. She believed in me in high school. She's like, "I think you actually could do it."
So I just
Right?
started that one,
And
so I can check
so
out the
I
updates.
was
But it
like,
turns
you know
out you
what?
can't see the updates
I
until
started
you
hanging out
level
with
up
them.
far enough.
You are who you hang out with.
So
Chad. You know that's a
like
fact,
it's
right?
new stuff that you can
I
get
hung
or
out with
whatever.
Brendan.
I
was a
don't know.
retard,
Anyways,
right?
I
was as
went
autistic
ahead
as
and
you
did
possibly
that.
could be. I was eating sand in front of everybody. I was screaming and yelling
Bro.
on Xbox Live.
Miskiff
But when I was with Kelly,
coming in
I
with the R
was
word like
smart.
a few times this
And
video,
she
but he
actually
feels
taught me
like
how to write. She taught me how to read, and she taught
it's
me how to
okay
actually
because it's
enjoy
him. I don't know.
Homework.
But it's
And it
not
became, like, our
PC.
conversation
Noted.
And she taught me how to
Let's
do
note
math.
that it's not.
So she was teaching me how to do math. It's all
But
nice,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. I
She-
was reviewing my YouTube.
I really, I did
made
not
sure
try.
to
I
check
cheated
back
way
on
through
all my
everything. I cheated
YouTube
myself.
comments
I cheated on
today.
everything. She actually started to teach me how to read and write, and I started actually hanging out with her.
And
and it was pretty crazy.
made sure that I
She could teach
commented
us,
back
like,
or like
she was
cleared
really
out
fucking
any
good.
weird
She taught me how to do
messages.
everything. I was like,
Keep the
"Holy
community
crap, I'm actually
safe.
enjoying this." And that's why I
And
went to college, because of her. 100%. I will totally say.
I don't know. I had like a half a cup of coffee. I'm still really tired. I haven't had any of my tea yet. I haven't taken my medicine.
Do some movie or something, but
So,
I decided to go to college because
but I
she
wanted to
taught me
make
how
sure
read
that I
and I was
caught
like,
up on the
"Holy
YouTube
crap."
stuff.
I'm gonna
So
go.
Diablo
I
4,
talked to Kelly. I don't
Baldur's
know,
Gate
10
3.
years
So
now.
Baldur's Gate
She got
3,
me
I made
the
Maethel.
yearbook. She
That's
got
my
me
D&D character, my Pathfinder character. I've had her for like 10 years. Barbarian. I broke up her name into 2 characters for Diablo.
We did.
but-
She became a teacher, Chad, so I mean, it's like,
Maethel
that's
is
exactly
doing
that.
good.
They were-
That's the level 50
so
in
you
Baldur's
can-
Gate 3. No, wait, and Diablo.
That's right. I'm like, you could have.
But I think I don't remember where she's at in Baldur's Gate 3. Anyways, highest level for both those games. And then I made a new character, a Githyanki Bard. I thought it'd be fun to make like a non-violent Githyanki character. I've never played Bard before either, so that's kind of interesting. And her name is
the very best one ever was. I want you to be this like top tier student that's
Ki-
gonna go to
Kira?
Yale. She was gonna go to like an Ivy League school.
I believe is how I can't. I'm pretty sure that's right,
So I
Kira.
was like, damn, you know what? I'm proud that you didn't go the normal
What
route.
is Lyme
And
disease? That's a great question. Lyme disease is Lyme disease is a bacterial infection. You can watch Under Our Skin here on YouTube for free. A documentary released over a decade ago. And it goes into everything. In the 1970s, a mysterious and deadly illness began infecting children in a small town in Connecticut. Today, it's a global epidemic, a real-life thriller. The shocking festival hit exposes the controversies surrounding chronic Lyme disease. Following the stories of individuals fighting for their lives, director Andy Abrams Wilson reveals with beauty and horror a natural world out of balance and a human nature all too willing to put profits before patience.
I have no idea what this is.
I wonder if the other one has
I've never seen this before. I've never heard of this before.
captions.
We don't know what's wrong with you.
I've heard every single thing that they say in this, by the way. Doctors, like I've seen lots of doctors, and
dark and
seen heard it all.
not seeing any light of recovery.
I thought about showing this documentary on stream. I wasn't sure what the copyright was, but since it's free on YouTube, I imagine I can.
A horrible epidemic.
So
When enough people are sick, it's going to be who's answering for this.
I'm glad that you asked.
When did you know it?
Some days feel better than other days, but a lot of the time
What kind
it's
of a
really hard.
breakdown or series of breakdowns in the medical system can lead to a setting where you
I
have
know
an
this
illness
guy,
and people
and I've
walking
been to
into
the
their
same
average
places.
doctor's offices may or may not be likely to get effective treatment for it.
Where he contracted Lyme disease, people said Lyme disease doesn't even exist and that ticks don't even exist there. He's a ranger.
Bacteriological infection,
Like his job is to work
producing
the
havoc
forest.
that it produces, can become so politicized. The truth can be so brutally distorted.
When we moved to where we are now, and people we bought the house from said to us, be careful of Lyme disease, and then we met all the neighbors. Every house, for sure, had at least one case, and many houses had, all of the family had been infected. All of them were sick.
It's just so wild to me that something like that big can happen 50 years ago now. And then, like, the government still today is just like, well, shit happens. I don't know. Well, it's crazy. We have no idea, though. And no, you can't research it. And no, you can't ask us. And we're only going to put out the bare minimum information. I've had days like this. My mom has had days like this. She's an amazing inspiration.
Take you back in the house, okay?
All the articles
It's
basically
because-
state that this really isn't that big of an epidemic and that it doesn't really do that much to your body. And that it's just a
It
very
can go
easy,
anywhere
quick
in
cure.
your body.
A couple weeks of
And it
antibiotics.
can
and
go
you're good
through
to
your
go.
blood-brain barrier.
Obviously,
It
those
can
people
go into
haven't
your
actually seen what it
spine.
does.
And it can cause neurological symptoms. And I don't think people realize the range of neurological symptoms that are possible when your body is affected by something.
No one would believe it.
Dana also is a huge inspiration.
I said to my best friend, I said, look at me right now. Look at me. What do I look like? And he said, you look great. I said, you cannot imagine the pain in my body right now.
Oh, goosebumps. Yo, what's up, Lord Semi21? How you doing? First time
My case
chat.
was sort of cut and
Woo-hoo.
dry.
Thank you for dropping a chat.
A, I was a park ranger. B, I knew exactly when I was bitten and I saved the tick and brought it to my doctor. C, I had a red rash.
He did everything
and D,
right.
I had a rather classic
'Cause
case
he's a
of
ranger.
neurological
He
Lyme
knows.
disease with all the usual trimmings. But I brought all that to the doctors and it took 5 doctors to figure it out.
It's crazy. Even with doing every single, most people don't know all these steps.
I don't think you're sick.
Most people
I don't
don't
think
know
there's
all
anything
these
wrong
things
with
to
you.
do.
Everybody's telling you it's in your head. You know
Hey,
it's
Lord
not
Sammy,
in your
if
head.
you are following me, I'll follow you back.
There is nothing wrong.
Is this the
We've done
first
your
documentary or the
labs.
second
Your
one? This
labs
is
are
the
fine.
first
You're
documentary
fine.
for free
There's no
on
medicine
YouTube under
for
our
someone
skin.
like you. You're an attractive girl, and obviously you don't feel like you're getting enough attention.
Dude, that stuff triggers me so much. I'm just like, why would anybody use Lyme disease as a way to get attention? You end up so isolated. You can't leave the house. You can't do things that you normally enjoy. And that's not the way to do it. People don't even know that much about Lyme disease. Why do doctors accuse people of that? Or anybody accuse people of that?
Like the catch
You
of
can't
the day.
fake a bacterial infection. It's a literal blood test.
She's become very, very good at hiding symptoms. It doesn't matter how bad she is. I mean, the girl cannot get out of bed, and her catchphrase is, "I'll do it myself."
I can do it
mean,
myself.
That's right. I mean, she can do. I can go grab something in 30 seconds, or she can take 4 hours to crawl across the house, and she will
My
not
buddy
let me go
Josh
get it.
said I should play Rust.
I
If
know
Josh
what
gets me Rust,
my bad
I'll
days
play
are
it.
like, and I do my best to try to prevent them. So to know that I could get worse.
She's on the cover
that's
of
something I'm
Under Our
looking
Skin.
forward to.
She's the picture. of the eyes in the water right there. That's
The
the
unknown
cover.
is pretty scary.
I can't remember if I've actually watched the second documentary, but I really should. This
I live
first
on
one
the
makes
west
me
side
cry.
of the northern Sierra
I just get so
Nevada
frustrated
in California.
because it's like so relatable, and I've been through all these things
I'm a
that
writer
these people
now.
have gone through, and it's just
I was
crazy
a park
that
ranger for 21 years
people still don't really know
until
that
I
much
got Lyme
about
disease
it,
and had to quit.
and it's hard to watch. So they don't. It's hard to, you know, even do your own research.
It began with profound fatigue. Then I developed stabbing and shooting pains.
Yep.
I started having vision problems, blurred
Yep.
vision. And then came the memory loss
Yep.
and
I
the
have all these
cognitive
things.
problems.
This is what I
Once
deal
I
with.
drove
When you
to
guys
my
see
office, a
me
place I'd
upset,
commuted
not
to for
feeling
13
good,
years, and stopped on the way home and called my wife and on the cell phone
you
and
don't
told
see
her that I
me
wasn't sure I
stream,
could find my way home. I just wasn't in good
hard
enough
to
shape to
stream
drive.
sometimes.
Couldn't remember how to do it.
I've had to pull over because I didn't feel safe to drive. I've sat down in the car
If I hadn't had any
thinking
kids,
I felt
I
fine,
might have killed myself.
and then decided like
My
behind the
life
wheel,
was so uncomfortable to be
starting
in
the
that
car.
I don't know that I would have.
I don't know
wanted to
which
be
pedal
here
is
had I not had
which.
Stronger family connections.
Like, how does that happen to someone? Everybody who has had Lyme disease has thought what he just said. You know, I can't say that I've talked to somebody who hasn't thought of that.
I'm an event
Have you
producer
tried those
for
on treatment before? I've
YouTube
tried a lot of
shows on
experimental
tour.
treatments. I've had Lyme disease
I
for
get
over
to do
half
the
my
VIP
life. It's safe to
parties
say
for
that
all the
I've
band's
considered
guests.
everything. But the
I've
thing
loved
is,
this
I don't
band since I
have
was
the
a
money
kid.
to explore every single venture.
Personalized
And it's
license
not
plate.
fair to have a system where only the rich
Everybody's in
can get
survival
better.
mode on tour.
You know?
It's
and it's not
insane.
fair to
It's
put people in
completely
debt, make
insane.
them sell their house. I've seen people living
The
in
hardest
tents
thing is
who were
everybody
homeowners
thinks
because they
I'm
both
normal.
got Lyme disease and they had to spend all their money on experimental treatment, which ends up making you have permanent damage to your body. Yes, you can get multiple sensitivities. I have GERD, I have IBS
At
because
home, I was in
of
bed feeling just so sick. and
trying
just
some
searing,
pulsing
searing
method,
pain.
oral antibiotic,
It got worse and worse,
antiparasitic,
and I started
because I have
having pretty bad
co-infections too.
neurological problems. I got to the point of just do
Well,
or
you
die.
know,
just
and you say that,
go for
and
something
that might be the
instead of
case for
sitting
some
around
people,
rotting in my
but
bed.
for one, I have witnessed my friends get PICC line treatment straight to the heart, and liquid
Over the last
antibiotics
12
straight to
years,
the
I've been
heart,
diagnosed
and
off
they
and
got
on with lupus,
blood
fatigue
infections.
syndrome, Crohn's disease,
Fibromyalgia.
lupus,
It's a
fibromyalgia,
high-risk
MS,
thing. It's
fibromyalgia,
completely
rheumatoid
experimental.
arthritis.
Doctors thought I had ADD.
Chronic fatigue syndrome?
I'm glad that it worked for you, but keep in mind that
multiple sclerosis,
you
MS to ALS to nothing.
They were pulling anything
are
out of
in
their hat they
remission.
could think of.
Lyme disease doesn't get cured. There's no cure for Lyme disease. These treatments are just to treat it, not to cure it. So you're still going to end up in a situation
There's
where if
evidence
you
that Lyme
break a
disease has
bone,
been around
if
for a
you
long
get
time.
really sick one
But
day,
here
it
in the
could
United
come back.
States, it was the early 1970s
Just the
when
same,
a
and it
Connecticut mom
proliferates
looked
so
around her
quickly.
neighborhood
There's
and
no
noticed something
telling
was not quite
how
right.
it could affect you. So I'm
Well, I
happy
was
for you,
frightened,
but also
really.
keep that in mind. You know, you
doctors,
gotta take
were
care of yourself
insinuating that it was all in my
continuously.
head. In the 70s, we were all
It's
having
not.
strange
Treatment is not the same word as cure.
headaches and stiff neck.
We don't have
and
the
swollen
research
joints.
done to say that kind of thing.
As I looked around the neighborhood, I realized that there were others that were having swollen knees and rashes. Finally, when our symptoms
Treatment
just
is
weren't
like
going
treating
away, I
the
decided to call
symptoms
the
of
state health
something.
department
A
and
cure
report
is
this mysterious
getting rid
disease
of
that
it
seemed to be
permanently.
coming to our area.
That's the difference. It's not a cure.
In 1981,
I'm glad that it worked
I
for you, though.
discovered the
But
causative agent
spreading misinformation leaves the
Lyme
people who are
disease.
still ill, suffering, or don't have access
My
in a position
discovery
where they are
was
continuously
published in the
mistreated
Science magazine
because
and
other
considered
people
as
who
a
are
breakthrough.
either able-bodied or do not understand believe that it's that easy. But it's not that easy. I haven't been sick for over half my life because I just chose to be.
We also didn't
I
have
haven't
any idea
gone
how widespread it was, how much
well
suffering
over
it
2
caused,
dozen
and
doctors because I just
the
wanted
controversies
to.
to come.
I actually don't like it at all.
Lyme disease is caused by bacteria.
It's not
The
fun.
Borrelia
Nobody wants to spend
spirochetes.
time in a hospital in a
It's
doctor's
spiral
office
shaped, so it can
explaining
drill through tissue
a
and get
long
into just about any part of the body.
two-sided page of everything that
The
they
most
deal
common form
with
of transmission
that
is through
sets
the
them
bite
back
of
on a
several
daily
species of tick,
basis.
commonly
That's
known
also
as
just
ear
a
ticks.
constant reminder of everything that you
bacteria
deal
inside
with
the
to begin
tick.
with.
So
I mean, look
when
at some of
it
these people are
bites you,
kids.
it just starts sucking
It's
up the
not
blood.
like these kids just decided like this is what they want for their life.
While it's
He's
like
comparing
sucking
it
in
to
the
Dracula.
blood,
It's
the
not-
bacteria will be released, and then it just gets into the blood, and it gets into your heart, and then your brain.
That's the
And
thing.
then
It
you
can
have
go
Lyme disease.
into an empty space in your body and avoid antibiotics. Also, I don't know if you're familiar with the Herxenheimer reaction.
Everything that I
Herxenheimer,
read
based
about
off
it, that
of
it
the person who
was
discovered
harmful.
it.
There was always something I'd read about it that said, "Oh no, no, no,
It's-
it's actually very easy to cure."
Yeah, and that's
well,
very
when I saw
frustrating.
this doctor, you know, he said, "You've got a long
Herxenheimer
road
reaction
ahead of you."
is when the bacteria dies, it releases
To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
it releases toxins into your body. Like, it does not just die and disappear. It like decays. And so that builds up in your body. Like, doing all these detoxing methods and everything is great, but it's also like a lot of them aren't effective, and none of them are going to be effective enough to avoid a Herxenheimer reaction. I never saw the tick that bit me. Some people actually believe it is a nanochemical disease. Okay, well, that's cool. We know, though, out of all the things that we don't know, we do know that it is a tick-borne illness, and it is labeled as such by the CDC. So out of all the things that the CDC has begrudgingly admitted up to this point, we know that much.
There's no difference in
So
how I
there's
feel
no
about it now and
real,
how I
like,
felt about it
debate or, like, conspiracy that needs to be discussed as far as, like, where it's coming from if we don't have a cure for it. If there's no cure... Hey, Cambodian Soy! Thanks for the lurk! Thanks for the tabbed up! Ad break in progress. Ad break ends in 25 seconds.
I think like a lot of people who've had Lyme disease, I've been led to wonder why it's not being treated
So,
with the kind of
yeah.
seriousness that it deserves.
I don't know. I'm happy for you, but I'm not here to debate
not a
where
rare
it comes
disease.
from.
It's thought
I'm not
of as a
here to
rare
even
disease,
debate
but in
anything.
fact,
It is
there's nothing
factually a
controversial
tick-borne
about the fact
illness,
that it's the
and
most common
many people
vector-borne
believe other
disease in
things.
America today.
But I'm more interested
It is
on figuring
far,
out
far
how to
more
make it
common
go away
and much more
and how to
dangerous to the average
effectively
American
treat
than West
it
Nile virus is.
in a manner that is accessible to everyone.
The Centers for Disease Control reported over 35,000 new cases last year. Yet because the disease
Here's
is
the
so often
graphs.
overlooked, they admit that the actual number may be up to 12 times higher, making Lyme disease far more prevalent than AIDS.
It's crazy, but they are intentionally keeping the numbers
past
lower
15
because they
years,
don't
annual
want
cases have
to
increased
draw attention
fourfold.
away.
And in the past 2 years alone,
Or, I mean, two.
cases have almost doubled.
I mean, is that
The
not
number of cases of
concerning?
Lyme disease
The
went
fact
way
that
up in this country last year,
there's
up by
lizards out there
41% to be
who
exact.
can
A record number of Lyme disease
have a
cases
tick
have
jump
been
on their
reported in the
body,
state of
and the
Maryland
tick
this
jumps
year.
off their body and no longer tests
50%
for
of
Lyme,
Massachusetts,
and
the
we're not
CDC admits
researching
there
that.
are at least 10 times as many cases out there.
The entire neighborhoods and
Possums
whole
are
families
considered
being
rodents,
debilitated by
but
this
they
infectious
eat
disease.
thousands of ticks every day.
I think there are hundreds of thousands of people who
out there who have Lyme disease who have no idea they have Lyme disease.
I know
There are
people
doctors
myself
out there
who literally are
who
just
aren't looking
like
for it.
He just kept
feel the
saying,
same
you
symptoms
don't
as
have
me, and
Lyme.
I'm like, have you
don't
thought
have
about
Lyme
getting tested
disease.
for Lyme disease? That's how I got tested for Lyme disease, because somebody asked
Lyme
me,
disease doesn't really exist in Tennessee.
and they said they just don't want to go to the doctor.
Because you haven't
They
been
don't
to
want
these
to know.
areas in Long Island or this area in Connecticut.
I've been told it isn't Lyme hundreds and hundreds
Like
of
a tick
times.
Are you sure you have it?
acknowledges
How do you
the
know you have
borders
it?
or something.
Why do you say you have it?
He slammed his fist on the table and said, "Don't talk to me about Lyme anymore."
I had a doctor in the ER room. I'm not even there for my Lyme
It is
disease.
a national health crisis.
Demand that I tell them what doctor told me I had Lyme disease.
What is going on?
Because they wanted to attack them for their license. And if I didn't tell them who diagnosed me with Lyme disease, they were not going to provide me with treatment for what I was in the ER
treating
for.
them effectively and quickly.
That's
it's far
insane.
more expensive to treat in late stages and less effective.
I don't even
than
think
it is
that's
early.
legal.
And yet
But they
we
were
don't
willing to
respond
deny
early enough
it
with many of the patients,
under
and
the
many
oath
them
of law,
get to late
just
stage
to
and they're sick
try
for the
to
rest of
attack
their
somebody's
lives.
license. Like, that's how back and forth, two sides this whole thing is. It's the government and it's also the medical system. Doctors will lose their license over treating you. That's why, like, a lot of these patients are forced
I'm
to
a
go
medical
through
doctor
another
with a specialty in
route.
pathology. I'm a general pathologist, but I'm doing molecular studies now in connection with my 20 years of
Praise this man.
researching Lyme disease. The research is something that I do after I've done my day's work, and if I have energy left, I work into the night. So I do the research on my own time.
That's a hot take.
Okay, hi, Travis. My lab assistant, Travis. This part of the cellar is mine. The rest of the cellar is for other things in our life, like Christmas ornaments. This is my microscope. I've owned this for 20 years. It's a research microscope. My work is building bridges between what I can see under the microscope and what is going on in the human
I got
body.
tested at the IGeneX.
The orthodox conventional view is that the bacteria that
IGeneX
causes
lab.
Lyme disease doesn't stay around.
My blood was
very
mailed
long
across the
inside
country
human body. That will be
at the
disproven.
time.
And we will enter an arena now where
That's
long-term
right.
chronic infections will be embraced by the medical community.
But there are
and
false
the patient
negatives.
will benefit.
And like that's the thing is like if somebody isn't even willing to
Al
get that
McDonald is
test,
doing
they won't
frontier
even know.
research about the
Even a
role
false
of
negative is still
Lyme disease, Borrelia
an
infection,
attempt
and
to know
neurological
what's going
illnesses.
on. A lot of
He's
people
doing
don't
it
even
against
try to get
substantial
that.
resistance in the traditional academic community.
It's Lyme,
I'm one man working
IgM,
alone,
and
and there is
IgG31K,
great skepticism that my work has meaning. And I'm working hard to get some evidence to say that there is some meaning.
There we go. This test
And time will
determines
tell.
whether the band present is position 31KDA on the IGeneX Lyme Western blot. IgM is specific for B.
Two groups of doctors are pitted against each other over just about every aspect of Lyme disease,
from the
the
patient
very
is tested
definition
against
of
a
the
Western
illness
blot test
to how it
strip,
should be treated.
With fixed Borrelia.
At the present time, the traditional medical community believes that there is basically only an acute form of the disease that is characterized in a soundbite as
fragment. So
hard
they're
to
testing
get
for the
and easy to treat.
antibodies, basically, right?
For 10 or 15
and
years,
they are
there's
doing
been a
both
second
tests.
group of Lyme
There-
doctors that
there's
say,
and
no,
that
that's
one
not true.
that does the
Lyme disease can be a
potential
persistent
negative.
chronic
They
illness
compare the
with many
results,
different symptoms.
and then they determine
So the
like
question
how
that
much
is posed at the
antibodies you
present
have.
time
So that's the other
is,
problem is
does
if your
chronic
body
Lyme
isn't
disease
responding to
really
it
exist?
effectively, to the Lyme disease itself effectively, that's one way that the Western blot test could be wrong, is because you don't have enough antibodies for it, and we're only testing for the antibodies. We're not testing for the level of bacteria, because the bacteria can be anywhere in your body. And like, if you're on antibiotic treatment,
the
it can
closest
just
spot that we
leave
have to
all of
Florida that
the
actually has a
reached
clue about
areas of
Lyme.
your body. We have empty spaces between our organs. It can sit dormant there and come back later.
My biggest
When I got
fear
really
is
sick,
that
I already
treatments
had
would be
Lyme disease
unsuccessful.
for a few years. I broke my ankle and my body
She
was
could
focusing
continue to
on
have a
healing
downward
that
spiral.
bone. That's when I got really
Neurologically,
sick.
she could have things
So
that are
I
irreversible.
got diagnosed after that happened. I'd already had it for years.
Yeah. Hey. Hey, how you doing?
So the Western blot test, it's just for many infectious diseases, including Lyme. But it's important to note that these tests do not directly detect the presence of the B. Burgdorferi spirochete. Instead, these tests detect antibodies in the blood, which have formed in response to the bee. So
she's so fragile, and her central nervous system is so irritable. It doesn't take a lot to set her off. We have to figure out what's
even the CDC says that there's a risk for false positive result,
so that your
or
immune
a false
system is more in charge.
It says there's a risk for a false positive result. That's why you got to get tested at IGenics. But no, they say false positive. I feel like I've heard more stories of people receiving false negative who ended up going and receiving a positive result later. Because of flare-ups. People don't understand that it comes like wavy. So like you have a flare-up, you get tested during that flare-up, then you get like less of a flare-up, you have less of a response. I mean, that's just, that makes sense to me.
And this is as needed, right?
The CDC, still 2018, is like, you know, people could be being treated for it when they don't have it, instead of being treated for the true cause of their illness. I had somebody try to tell me, and my mother, that we had lupus, and the treatment for lupus is the complete opposite for the treatment for Lyme disease. If you have Lyme disease and you take
I think that's going to help healthcare in general.
Immune suppressants for lupus, it's going to get worse. The only thing keeping the bacterial infection at bay is your body fighting it, which feels awful. It sucks.
I've spent
it doesn't
over
feel good,
$100,000 out of
but it's the best way to keep it from progressing at a faster rate.
I was misdiagnosed for 3 years.
5 years, 14 years,
15 years.
It's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I was 12. I got diagnosed at 16. I'm 28 now. I've sat in a pile of bottles like this before.
I'm guessing that my case, which could have been controlled with probably a single bottle of doxycycline, at the time I was bitten, probably would
People
have
in
cost
agriculture know.
like $25 or $50.
In agriculture school, when you are going to take care of cattle,
as it is,
they teach you about Lyme disease for the animals.
$75,000 to $100,000.
And how it affects them, and then turn around and try to act like it doesn't happen to people. Why are we different?
My concern is that the majority of the patients that I see here in this office, this very office, who come to me because they've been treated for chronic Lyme disease, is that they don't have any evidence of ever having had Lyme disease once. Ever.
It's so
not
exhausting.
Now, not a year ago, not 5 years ago. They didn't have the rash. They never had a positive blood test.
The rash is like 50%.
They never had anything.
Not everybody gets the rash. Also, I got ticks
my Lyme disease
on my
turned
head.
Out to be
I had long hair for
psychosomatic.
most of my life.
You're crazy.
Even The Simpsons depicting it.
No, actually, it was a little of both.
I was originally told at the very beginning that I had a very deep psychological problem.
They were telling me it wasn't real.
They said I needed to see a psychiatrist.
You need to see a psychiatrist.
See, but I've seen a psychiatrist, and it didn't change the fact that I'm sick.
You are depressed.
You're faking it. You need to get mental help.
You're a teenager, get up and walk. She doesn't want to go to school.
That's the one that
just
fucks me up.
You think you're crazy,
when
but
somebody
I know I'm not crazy. This thing screws you up big time.
who can't walk is told, just get up, just walk. You were walking the other day. You look fine.
Let the drag begin.
Okay, I wouldn't be here if I felt like
where we are
safe
now is
to
a
walk
town in
right
Cape
now.
Cod, and Cape Cod is considered
That's
to be endemic
insane.
for
That
Lyme
is like
disease.
a lack of wanting to do your job at that point.
Oh, I'm
Or
good.
just like not wanting
This
to
is a
deal with the
male
controversy
deer
associated
tick
with the
that we
subject.
picked up from the ground.
I mean,
on
when
our
you're a
very
doctor,
first
you take an
30-second
oath
drag.
to help your patients, and this, I'd say most doctors do not
This is
live
a
up to
deer
that
tick
standard.
nymph.
I think the
This is
level
the
of
second
apathy
stage.
associated
They'll
with
feed on a
doctors
host
to their
for
patient
5
relationship
days,
has
maybe,
gone up
and that's
significantly.
how Lyme disease
And
is
it's because of
transmitted.
politics, it's
And it
because
just
of
doesn't seem
insurance, they're not getting
possible that
paid,
this
they have
poppy
to,
seed-sized thing
has to
is
get
gonna
paid
make you
more than they
bedridden.
would normally charge for the
Possibly for the
insurance
rest
to
of your life.
compromise to pay them less than it's
Now
actually
we're trying
worth,
for
even
a deer
still.
tick female. That'll complete the trinity.
And I understand that, like,
And here we are. The trinity is complete. There are 2 females.
it was that easy, that
Let's
wasn't
call
that long
them
of a
Thelma
walk.
and Louise. And they're on the hunt. Well, there's another male. There's another nymph. We get another nymph. So our odds of getting Lyme disease here are going up.
Wear light-colored clothes, completely cover up, wear bug spray.
Despite years of education, the incidence
I know there's a
of
lot
Lyme
of
disease
people.
has
Look at
been
his socks.
raised by 40% from last year. It's only going up.
And we spray for all these other bugs, but we're not doing anything about ticks. Why? I mean, like, it literally just makes people
and Lyme
sick.
is turning
It
up
makes
in
animals
states where it's
sick.
never been known. I mean, I grew up in this part of the world, and we didn't have a problem with Lyme disease that we know about. I'm convinced that in the long run, that what we're going to learn is that we're seeing a process of ecological change. We're living in the largest extinction in 65 million years of other forms of life. While many species are dying out, viruses and bacteria are finding new opportunities. Warming climates, jet travel, human expansion into wildlife habitats are favoring
COVID is a viral infection.
that jump from animals to people. Diseases we're not prepared
And we
for.
knew this was coming, and we're not prepared. We were not prepared.
Years ago, the patients
But
were
we knew
only
when
getting
I was a
pure Lyme
child
disease,
that this
and
was
might
going to
explain why the
happen.
literature, there's such a disparity, where some people say, oh no, Lyme doesn't
We
look
knew when
like
my
this.
mother was a child that this
What
was
we're
going
now
to happen.
seeing is these ticks are containing multiple organisms. They're not just containing Borrelia burgdorferi, the organism that causes Lyme, but they're
Correct.
containing Ehrlichiosis, Babesia microti.
I have
It's a
Babesia.
malaria-like organism. When you get Lyme and Ehrlichia and Babesia and Bartonella
There
henselae,
it is.
cat scratch fever, and Mycoplasma fermentans and viruses,
I think I have that one
the
too.
immune system gets
The
overwhelmed.
spinny one.
I'm not sure years ago all of these co-infections were present as they are now. Now the patients who are coming in to see me
The
are
Lyme
multiply
vaccine
co-infected.
is not a
They're
live
much,
vaccine.
much sicker. And it's
It is
because
more
it's no longer
likely
just Lyme.
that it just happened to be at the same time. Also, the vaccine isn't even accessible anymore. They pulled it from the market. So I don't know what kind of vaccine they were even getting.
Ticks are very sensitive to dryness.
There's no Lyme
Their bodies
disease vaccine
desiccate
currently
easily,
available.
And in
When
dry
I got
weather,
sick,
they hide deep in mossy
they had
crevices
just
on the
pulled
barks of trees,
or when I got
or
diagnosed,
in the
they had
leaf
just
litter,
pulled the
or
vaccine.
in wood rat nests. Damp weather, however, makes them more active.
And it's just a
and they come out
protein.
and stand
It's-
around the tips and branches and blades of grass by trails like hitchhikers at a freeway on-ramp.
It all
I
fell
want us
because
to
of
see clearly
negative publicity.
how things are really going with nature.
Withdrew the vaccine in
We have
2002.
not succeeded in developing any level of independence from it, nor, in fact, are our bodies in any way independent of it. We've always said, well,
There's a
sooner
vaccine
or later,
available for
some of the
dogs.
damage that we do to the earth can come back to people. But I think at some visceral level, we've expected we could evade it. And I think now maybe some of that bill is coming due, and we're beginning to see some ecological changes that are capable of invading people's bodies.
A spirochete is a parasite, like a virus is a parasite. It has to adapt to different environments. So you could have a very virulent, disease-producing organism.
Actually
you
got
could
rid
have
of
one that likes to go
Don't
to the
you
joints
think that I would not
and
have
doesn't want
Babesia
to
anymore?
penetrate and cause injury in the
I know
brain.
that they
You
say
have one
there's
that
only
goes to
3
the skin.
strains, but that we know that that's not true.
One of the
There's
hallmarks
too
of
much of
the
a
onset of
variety in
untreated Lyme
patients'
is a multi-system
symptoms
involvement.
to
Different
try
parts
to
of the body,
suggest
things
that there are
changing,
only
moving
3
around.
strain types. If there were only 3 strain types, 3 different ways of experiencing
We might
Lyme
have a
disease
few
would
weeks
exist.
of body aches.
Everybody has
And
a
they might
different
have a few
body and
weeks
their
of
body
headaches,
responds
and a few weeks
differently.
of real profound fatigue,
But there is
and
a
a few weeks of
generalized
confusion. Or you'll have
common
pain in the large
symptom
joints,
list
and then it'll
that a
switch
lot
to
of
the small
people
joints.
have
And
under
then
this.
you're going to a neurologist.
And
then you're
a
going
lot
to
of that
a
has to do with
bone
the
doctor.
co-infections
Then you're going to a stomach
associated.
specialist. Then you're going to a
I've
counselor.
gone to like almost
and
every
they get labeled as being
specialist.
crazy.
Severe headaches.
Cognitive problems.
Fatigue, headaches.
Cardiac arrhythmias.
I've done malaria treatment
Joint pain.
as an
I have
attempt to
arthritis.
treat
I'm tired.
Babesia, Lyme disease,
Involuntary
and
movements,
any other
brain
co-infection.
fog.
I lost the
Because
use of my
they're
right arm.
parasites.
I became dyslexic.
I had
Bacterial infection.
hallucinations.
Blurred vision.
Light sensitivity.
I've had all of these symptoms.
It's a long laundry list.
The tests for Lyme disease were developed more than a decade ago. They were controversial back then, and in all this time, no better tests have been approved, even though almost everyone agrees there are problems with the current tests.
About 50% of people who actually have Lyme disease
the reactions that people experience when they get a vaccine is their own immune system.
If you're unlucky and you have real disease,
and when
but
people
you test negative,
are suffering from
your
Lyme
disease is still real and you still require treatment.
It's their body's immune system's reaction. But the problem with that is Lyme disease creates a biofilm that it protects itself in.
When I got diagnosed
and it will
with Lyme,
escape when your white blood cells are attacking it and leave the biofilm. So your body is attacking itself. It is a bacterial infection that imitates an immune disorder. That's the best way I can explain it. So
the possibility of being forever.
Your body is getting all this constant damage to itself, and the bacteria is just running away. I mean, like, a lot of the problem with Lyme disease is your own body's effects on itself, trying to fight it, and remaining, like, confused in multiple ways. Babesia, shortness of breath, lives in the red blood cell, destroys the red blood cell after it feeds off of all the oxygen in it, causing asthma, like breathing issues, causing an experience of like similar to being anemic.
I'm very scared of actually.
And I've experienced all these things. I'm saying this from firsthand experience.
I feel like my body will collapse. I'm a little afraid. You know, I'm definitely going on adrenaline.
How Dana feels when she is working is how I've felt every single time that I've worked. And it just feels like I'm going to let people down at my job because I know how sick I am, and nobody else seems to ever know how sick I am, no matter how open I am about it. It's great to have that adrenaline rush, to have that constant distraction, but then when you sit down by yourself and nobody is there for you, you are left with all of the suffering and damage that you have allowed to happen from just trying to pretend that you are healthy and can do stuff and can live a normal life and can have a normal job. Because people tell you, oh, just get up, just do it. And then you get up and you just do it. And then when you turn around and you sit down, are they there? They're not there. Why do they get to tell you how sick you are and how you should handle your illness when they do not have any experience? And they're not even going to be there for you to support you when the damage is done.
What do you want? What are you living for?
This documentary makes
it's
me
not enough
so
just
passionate.
To be alive.
I get so...
I mean...
I'm just tired of people suffering and people trying to tell them, like, oh, you just didn't try hard enough. Like, this is people's lives, and you think that they didn't try hard enough?
This is the height of the season for baseball, summer vacations, and Lyme disease. The disease is now being reported in almost every state, and it's reached epidemic levels in some parts of the Northeast.
The newest research indicates that tiny bacteria pose a special risk during pregnancy, since an expectant mother may not know she's infected.
We have
and they're trying to tell you that you're good now. Like, I don't know.
We have examples of infection causing death of the baby at the time of birth or shortly after birth.
I've had 4 miscarriages, 2 of which were positive for Lyme disease, and we had an 18-week loss. That at 15 weeks was healthy, genetically fine, and at 18 weeks, the loss was proven to come from the Lyme infection.
Elise came to me with Lyme disease, and it just so happened that as she was finishing up the treatment, she got pregnant. And we followed her with the pregnancy, and she was doing fine initially, and all of a sudden she miscarried.
2 weeks later, the OB came back and said, you were right, it was Lyme disease. The baby was infected, the fetus and the placenta were infected, Elise, and concluded that that's what took the life of this baby at 18 weeks.
In utero fetal transmission of Lyme disease to a fetus is something that has been of concern to patients and physicians for many years. We've looked carefully at that. There have been numerous studies. There's not been one documented case of congenital Lyme disease.
Well, that's nonsense.
Developing.
Plain and simple. And it's not only nonsense, there's significant peer-reviewed articles showing transmission transplacentally
and at autopsies. It's just nonsense. How could that not be? It doesn't even stand up physiologically. It makes no sense.
Trying to have another baby has been very frightening. When I get excited about having a baby, I squish it. I don't let myself get excited because I'm so afraid of setting myself up for that disappointment again.
That's valid, and it sucks.
And a day for me is like a lifetime. And every visit to the doctor is filled with fear. Every time I listen to that Doppler come down to my belly, I wonder, is there going to be a heartbeat today?
So it's like people who are all like, oh, well,
At this
I don't
point,
really care.
I've had many
you know,
women
like, it
who've
hasn't
gotten
affected
pregnant
me.
who've lost the baby.
Why should I care?
Or they give birth to a baby that
what
has
if you
Lyme,
marry somebody
and the babies don't
who
have
has
the
it?
developmental growth may
What
be
if
off,
your mother
their
has
IQ
it? What
may
if
be
your
lower,
sister has
they
it?
may develop seizures or some
Your
other
dad,
type of neurological
your
problem,
grandparents.
and it's not picked up
The
because the
amount
mother
of
was not
people
known
with
to have Lyme.
Alzheimer's that they tested for Lyme disease and they had Lyme disease. How is that not shocking people? Why do people not care? I don't get it.
You can't imagine this. How could you? You just can't.
You don't get it till you got it. That's what they say.
Hi, my name is Jared. Before my Lyme disease got so bad, I was able to talk. Now I have to use a communication device.
I wasn't a real healthy pregnant mom with him. Well, in retrospect, I realized that I was sick. I had Lyme disease, and I did not realize that that's what was going on. I knew something wasn't right from the time he was born. I knew it. I kept getting poo-pooed by the doctors. They said, just let him be and it'll all work out.
They tell you nothing's wrong.
And it didn't work out.
That's so discouraging. You're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to go to professionals. Okay. And they don't want to help, and they just
At
watch
age
you get
6,
worse.
we got the
and
news
then they bank off
that
of treating
he
your
had
symptoms.
brain damage. And they didn't really know why. They thought it was something that happened in utero, and that the damage was done, and then we would just keep moving forward. But he didn't move forward. He kept moving backwards. Lyme disease happened to be everywhere around us by then. It was as if every neighbor was coming down with it, and it was like hitting me from every direction, as if, you know, wake up, dummy, you're not paying attention. You know, there's Lyme disease everywhere.
I hear more and more people be like, oh, I know somebody in my family who has that. Oh, I have a friend who has that.
There's a gentleman who lives right up on the hill up here, and his previous wife passed away. She had Lyme disease, and now he's remarried, and his new wife has Lyme disease.
This man here was very ill from Lyme disease. In the house over here to your right, those people had it. And same with the lady that lives here. She has it.
We're barely even halfway through this.
I put a lot of faith
I don't
in
know how much you guys have learned.
I believe them. I want to just shake them and say, how many more kids are you going to let go untreated because you're not recognizing what's happening here?
I've never seen a child who's had late-stage neurologic Lyme disease.
Because it doesn't make any sense.
We just don't see late neurologic disease in children.
Also saying that there's late-stage Lyme disease.
I used to do ballet,
implies the
and
fact that
I was in the Nutcracker a bunch of
have it for
times.
so long, and people are still out here like,
That
you
time
just
of
need
year
2
was
to
always
4
really
weeks of
crazy
antibiotics. It
and
should be fine.
running around, going to rehearsals and stuff, but I loved it.
After the first time that I
Her
went
ankle
to winter
was
form, my
bothering
first,
her.
like,
Then
serious
her right knee
dance,
blew out,
I was
and
like
they tapped
this.
into it, and they found that she had late-stage
That's
Lyme,
when I
and
was
it was
like,
in her brain.
you know what? Let's do experimental treatment because I don't ever want to feel like I can't walk again.
She just went downhill very fast. All of a sudden, she couldn't pick up a knife, pick up a fork, couldn't write with a
I
pencil.
dropped things all day. I fall
and this
to the ground.
all
because
transpired
I'm
in
just like
the
that
time frame of
stubborn that I
overnight.
just want to keep trying to do it. And
They
it
insisted
doesn't
that she's making it up and that she was going to
just
have to
get
go on
better.
psychiatric
It's
medication if she didn't stop it.
painful until you get used to it. It's not even like I have good days and bad days. It's just my tolerance has had to reach a point. Like my threshold for pain has had to become higher because it's been so consistent.
She couldn't hold her head up. She couldn't sit up.
It's a tick-borne bacterial infection. It's a tick-borne illness. It's classified as such.
And not knowing if they were going to keep her on the medication because it kept saying, no, only 28 days.
And effectively find out if there's more. We haven't gotten to that part of the documentary yet about like the politics behind that.
And them fighting me and saying, well, he's controversial.
It's technically
and
not
something in me
legal
just
to
kept
do
saying,
research
no,
on
you're
Lyme
going.
disease as per the government.
The thing that gives me most joy.
So that's why people are, like doctors, are attacked for their license for even just treating people
well
because it's all
I don't
considered
consider it a
experimental.
job.
But then
it to
it's
be
been around
like
for
a calling
50 years, and we're still being told that there's not.
My practice consists of
do
over
about it.
9,000 children
You know how much
from
money
every
the pharmaceutical
state in
industry makes
America,
off of Lyme disease patients
from
just from
South
treating
America,
their symptoms?
from almost every province
You
in
get
Canada,
multiple
and from
pill
every
bottles
continent abroad.
compared to just one treatment
The practice is
just to treat
growing
the symptoms.
at
Why
the
would they
rate
want
of
to
5
resolve
to
something
10
like
new
that?
encounters per day.
It's money,
They have very
baby.
complex, serious
That's on the
illnesses.
pharmaceutical
However,
bank,
it's
man. Like,
nice to see them get well.
It feels like a political attack to them because they're not looking at it as children getting better, as families not falling apart. You know, they're looking
Some
at
of
it
the
as
Lyme literate
stats.
physicians are practicing medicine that is
Lyme disease could be
widely
coming from other
outside of the
sources, but
standards
we do
of
not
medical
know.
care.
All we
A
know
small
for
group
sure
of
is
physicians
that we
feel
found it
that
in
one can
ticks.
diagnose Lyme disease on clinical grounds alone,
And
not
it is
necessarily
classified
relying
under
on
the
any
CDC as a
laboratory
tick-borne
data.
illness.
And then furthermore,
It is a
long-term
bacterial
antibiotics
infection.
are the right treatment
Animals can
that
get
has
it.
never been
The
shown in
agricultural
any
system
double-blind,
teaches that as
controlled,
well,
randomized
about our
trial.
own cattle.
I've worked here for 8 years, and I've seen many patients come and go, and I've seen the success he's had in his treatment regimen. Yes, we do treat aggressively, but I think that's what works.
In a way, it's like the perfect storm of diseases because of the timing of a couple different events in the history of medicine.
Like I'm stressed.
1980, the United States said it was okay for government institutions and universities to patent and profit from live organisms.
There it is. That's the part we were just.
So the Lyme disease organism was discovered in 1981, and all of a sudden there was the equivalent of an Oklahoma land grab. People looking under their microscopes, patenting pieces of the organism. So the people that are
Dude, this
credited
pisses
for being
me off
the
so
Lyme
much.
disease
How are you going
experts
to
no
patent
longer
the
share
research
information about
of a
new,
bacterial
really
infection,
dangerous
of a
pathogen.
microorganism?
They hoarded the information.
I was going to
because
school
they
for
wanted to
biology, and
protect
I wanted to
future
get into
profits.
microbiology, not only because of Lyme disease, but even more so
are trying
because
to
of
take
Lyme
their
disease.
discoveries, often made
And then I
on the
found
federal
out
nickel,
this.
and take them private. They patent them, they start firms. What's commercializable is driving the research agenda in too many cases, not what's medically necessary and what's medically useful.
It's insane. How can they do this? This has
The
got
other
to be
thing that
illegal,
happened
but it's
was
not.
the rise of
'cause
managed
capitalism.
care. Insurance companies and HMOs realized that if they can get researchers in universities to define diseases and write guidelines for diseases a certain way, then they could help manage the escalating medical costs. And really what this means is the people who previously protected public health, so like the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, and the NIH, and universities who didn't have any commercial interests, all of a sudden they were partners with Big Pharma, and their motivations completely changed.
It's crazy.
We no longer had oversight and checks and balances in our scientific system in the US. It was rife with conflicts, and just now, 20 years later, we're beginning to see what happens when you have unchecked conflicts in medical care.
Ah! Okay. I should stop. I'm gonna just keep getting super worked up about this. But I will continue watching it later. I'll watch the other half later, and then, I don't know. If you want to go watch it in your own time as well, please do. I very much encourage it. More people need to know what's actually going on, and then, like, it'll be easier to understand how to, like, not spread misinformation and hopefully, like, get actual answers. But yeah, Under Our Skin, totally free on YouTube. Okay, thanks for coming by, and I'll stream later probably if I can get it to work without dropping frames. Okay, bye.